Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I am your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, I am sitting down with a very interesting young middle-aged man. No, we'll call him a young man. I've known him for years, but he was an intern for 7 years for the Howard Stern show back in the days when it was really, really wild. And he has been convinced to finally put a lot of his stories into a book, which is called Gorilla Parts, which is out now. And he's here to talk about his books, some of the craziest stuff he experienced on Howard Stern, the life lessons he's learned, and we're just having like a funny conversation. Fair warning now, language probably worse than my first book, Time to Light the F Up. But the stories are there about Tupac, George Clooney, Brad Pitt. When you worked at the Stern Show back in the 90s, you experienced it all. It was the heyday. And there's a reason that this guy is friends with so many well-known people to this day. He is personable, he's authentic, and he's real. And he has been a friend of mine, and he's just a good human being. So buy his book, support him. He's adding author to his very expansive resume. And you are not going to want to not miss going behind the scenes of the Howard Stern Show. So after this brief message, we will be right back with our guest, Steve Grillo, on the Next to Madison podcast.
It's your host, Madison Malloy, and I have exciting news. My new product is now available on Amazon called Color Your Way to Abundance, a 21-day manifestation guide for wealth, health, and love. This unique coloring journal will help you manifest by coloring in the affirmations while you continue to repeat them. This will help activate these affirmations so they become a reality. Grab your copy today and relax, color, and start manifesting.
Okay, we are back with our amazing guest. I've known this guy for years. He is funny. He's hilarious. I am so excited that he's now adding author to his resume. He was an intern for the Howard Stern Show from 1991 to 1998. For those of you that are old enough to remember what went on during those years, shit was crazy. He is now out with his new book, available everywhere on Amazon, called Gorilla Parts. Please welcome author Steve Grillo. How are you?
Nobody in my life would ever thought those two words would ever be put together, ever.
But I love it. But before we get into the book, because the book is really about you interning.
Oh my God, hold on, wait. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I forgot.
You gotta bring up the damn book.
I got my first copy.
Is that not the best feeling as an author, like seeing your first hard copy of something you've put like your blood, sweat, and tears in?
That doesn't make any sense.
Hold it up again. It's such a great.
Look at that fucking fat bastard on the back of the cover.
Oh, I love it. So we're gonna get into it. How did you end up at Howard Stern in 1991? Like, what was that?
Oh, it was just I was a huge fan. I listened every day. I had a big commute to go to school. When I went to college, I wrestled for Hunter College, and I went to Hunter College, and I live on I grew up in Canarsie, which is the ass end of Brooklyn, literally, like where the Lord took a dump right inside of Jamaica Bay. Like it was like the furthest part of Manhattan possible. So I had to take a long bus ride to get to the L train, and it was at the last stop. It's the last stop on the L train. And then I'd take the L train all the way into Manhattan. And so I listened. I had my Walkman, so I listened to Howard. It was my solace, my Zen moment. At least if I had to take this hour and a half commute every day, I had Howard to listen to. And then I got to school and I listened to Howard. And then I realized at some point that he mentioned the address. I thought they were always like in Jersey or somewhere. And it turns out they were at 600 Madison Avenue, which is about 10 blocks from the Hunter College. And I went, what the fuck? They're like down the block. And I walked down the block, and all of a sudden I was standing in the lobby of the K-Rock. And at that moment, I saw this ugly green plant that was on the other side of the door. And I said, I was going to make it my life lesson, my life goal to get past that fucking door and past that ugly green plant, and I did it.
That's amazing. So you get hired I mean, 91 to 98 was like, I feel like it was some of the wildest times on Stern. So I want to get into like I want to ask you, like I was going to wait till further down the road of the interview, but I just want to ask you like what are some of the craziest things that you witnessed? And I'm sure you cover it in your book, but like for us here, like get into it.
Well, one of my first you would think that this would probably like really derail anybody. But like one of my first like days there, Howard had Guns N' Roses tickets and he was giving them away, and he gave a pair of tickets away to the first girl that came up and would shave her vagina on the radio, and she was actually a really hot blonde. No, excuse me, she was a really hot redhead, and she came up there and she let Howard shave her vagina, and then one of my first I had this just big bowl of water and red pubic hair that I had to go dump into the bathroom.
Ew.
So yeah, yeah, it sounds disgusting, but I thought it was just okay. I was happy with that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean
And
that was the day where everything was like he pushed the envelope so much. I mean, we didn't have
every day,
cancel
every
culture.
moment, like yeah,
We
it was
definitely didn't
insane.
have Me Too. So it was kind of like a free flowing thing.
Yeah,
So the girl
he had
got the
he had
tickets.
she got the tickets, and I got to carry her pubic hair.
Did Howard nick her at all, like cut her on accident?
No, I think he did a pretty good job. I didn't see the end result, just the bowl of pubic hair,
Oh
but it was definitely
God.
it was definitely red.
So she must have had to like grow out her full bush. I think bushes
I
were in
showed
style then.
well, it was definitely half there, half this, but she definitely she was unkempt. How about that?
Oh my God, that is insane. So did she ever come back
Yeah.
on the show as a follow-up?
Oh, I don't know. She is just a faceless name in everything that ever happened on that show. You
And
know what
so
I'm saying?
what were some other things that happened?
Oh, Jesus God. I it's kind of like it's overwhelming to even think about some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was like watching Howard spank Sally Kellerman, who was a fucking Oscar nominated actress. She was it was just like every day was a different. The reason why I love being there is like every time I woke up in the morning, I didn't know how my day was going to end. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And from him almost being killed and me doing that, of me meeting like my fucking idols and like Mark Hamill. You know what I'm saying? It was like I became friends with Luke Skywalker. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
That's
It's
so
crazy.
cool. Oh my gosh. So I mean it was a great experience, but let's get into, what led to the book. And is there anything in the book? Are you Yeah, let's just start with that. Like what
Okay, well,
led
here's it.
to the book?
Well, you know what led to the book is the actual person I dedicated it to. I worked at this really amazing Italian restaurant on the Upper East Side. It's not no longer there anymore, but like it was like right after I left the show, I thought I was going to move to. I actually went to LA with my ex girlfriend, thinking I'm going to move to LA. We're going to be actor. She was an actress, and
Yeah.
she's still an actress, and she's a very good actress. But we did intent to move there, and then I was coming back to New York to settle up my affairs. And the moment I saw the New York City skyline, it was like clear. I was like, why the fuck would I leave this? And I called her up and I was like, maybe we could do a long distance thing, which of course we know that never works. Anyway, I
Yeah.
was young, and I was like, 25 years old or 27 years old, and I got a job bartending at this place called Restaurant Brunelli. Russ Brunelli was the owner, very charismatic man, and he was one of the original general managers for the Limelight. So he opened up this restaurant, and I became friends with him. Actually, it's a picture with Russ and one of our favorite transvestites, Michelle. So that was the restaurant. It was a lot of crazy things that went on in my life in between all that. So once I started bartending there, I would tell Russ all these stories, and Russ was always like, "Oh, you should write a book." And I was like, "Russ, no one gives a flying fuck about me. I'm enough to write a book. Write a book, write a book, write a book." And for years, he's been telling me to write a book, and now I wrote a book,
Oh
and I
my
dedicated
gosh.
I dedicated it to him.
So the book is pretty long. What is the book just covering the 7 years you spent as the rock
No,
star intern?
No, that's why my voice is a little hoarse because I've been doing the Audible, which will be available hopefully by
I
this weekend.
love that. I love that.
It might seem a little skinny, but it's actually got a lot of words in it. It is. Well, what was? I'll go back to the question. I'm sorry.
Like, was it all about covering the 7 years?
Oh yeah, no. As you well, yeah, you know as well. Yeah, you know that I'm not just like a Howard Stern oriented thing. I had a million things go on in my life. I had a very interesting childhood. I had an extremely wonderful family, like blessed from God Himself to have the family that I do. And I had like a lot of really fun experiences as a teenager upstate at this campground that I go to every summer.
Yeah.
And people could say it was a molestation. I don't, but I got my first blowjob when I was 11. It was pretty awesome.
By
So
who?
yeah, a girl that was going into college. Just we
Oh,
drank
I'm glad
150.
you said it was a girl because when you said that, I thought it was like
Oh
your
yeah. Oh
uncle.
no. She was, dude. I am straighter than straight. You know that, Madison. Come on. I can't flirt with you enough. Fuck's sake. No, she was. I was going into eighth grade and she was going into college, and we drank 151 pina coladas and smoked a couple of joints, and I passed out, and I woke up with my pants around my ankles, and it was the best thing that ever happened. But the funny thing is, when I fucking came, I bit my hand so hard that I had like purple teeth marks around my hand. So the next day, when I was at breakfast with my family, because I had a big Irish family, we were fucking. My grandmother goes, "Why are there teeth marks on your hand?" And
Yeah.
I was like, in my head, I'm like, well, because I just busted my first load down this girl's mouth. Um,
My God.
but right, it's in the book.
This is our dirtiest interview we've ever had, and I'm
Oh
loving every
yeah,
minute
yeah.
of it.
I'm
I
just
mean,
like, yeah,
what
I
did you
know.
guys expect from a stern
What? No, no, no,
intern?
no.
Hello.
What did you? No, wait, Madison. What did you expect from me?
Yes,
You
this is
know
true
me.
because I've known
Yeah,
you.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know me. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I had to explain or make up or improv. That's why I got into acting because I was really good at improv my whole life because I had to be in situations where I had to like change the story. So I said, well, a bunch of my friend was telling a bunch of jokes last night, and we had to be quiet, and we didn't want to wake anybody up. So I bit my hand, so I didn't laugh out loud,
Oh
and
my
everybody was
gosh.
like, okay, and I got away with it. And like it was
That
like,
is amazing. So in the book you're covering kind of like the crazy stories of your life, which led to you naturally being a fan of the Stern Show because he was way
It was
out
just
there. And
everybody was a fan of the Stern Show. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like even people that wouldn't admit it, they were a fan of the Stern Show. And I just happened to be there and down the block from where the radio station was, and it was just like when I realized that they were that close, I knew I was destined to be there. I had to make it a point of being there.
So what was if you can, is there something specific, like what was the greatest lesson that you feel you learned from working with Howard?
Oh, I think it was a lesson that I learned when I was a kid, to be honest with you, because it was I just when you work your ass off, it pays off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You shut your mouth and you work hard and you show up to work every day on time. It's really simple. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. And I think that's why that was part of my longevity on the show is because like, I was one of the people that could show up every day and not
Yeah.
have a problem. No matter what it was, I always showed up and I
Yeah.
was
No,
there on
that's
time. And, you know,
yeah. No,
it's a,
absolutely.
it's a worth ethic that I've had since I think it's just passed down in your blood. If you grew up in a decent family, this is what happened.
Oh, absolutely. So was there anything you learned specifically from Howard, just witnessing or talking to him or anything that,
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like what people don't understand, and I just did a show earlier, and I just told this story that he didn't think who the fuck he was, and that kind of sense, like he was Howard Stern, but like I'm the one who walked him in and out of the building every day. I had a very like close personal relationship with him. We didn't extend outside work. It wasn't like he's like come over for dinner at Grillo. That never happened. But there was but he appreciated my being there every day, and it made him feel comfortable. But it was like when people didn't understand, is like I when I walk them down, and someone saw him in the elevator, and they were like, oh my God, you're Howard Stern. Can I take a picture? Can I have an autograph? And
Yeah.
he didn't necessarily carry a pen around with him all the time, but I never saw him be mean to anybody outside the radio station. You know what I'm saying? When he
Yeah.
did his book signings and there were 5,000 people online, and he stood there and made sure everybody got their book signed. And he looked everybody in the eye and he signed, "What's your name? Nice to meet you. Thank you for buying my book." And he looked him in the eye. If he doesn't think who the fuck he is, who the fuck am I to think who I am?
That's a good lesson. No, it's true.
Yeah,
It's because it's true. It's people don't remember what you wore or what you said
yeah,
necessarily, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And
yes. And
that is such a less important lesson for everybody.
yeah. So that's why it's like, so many people that get some fame and shit like that, and they think who the fuck they are. I worked for the biggest radio rock star in the world, and he
Yeah.
didn't think who the fuck he was. So who
Yeah.
are you to think who the fuck you are?
So who are some of the biggest names that you met during this time there?
Well, there's a bunch of them in the book. My favorite title for one of my chapters is, hold on, I want to pull it up just real quick. Is 'cause it's a funny thing is hold on. Enough is enough with the bomb pop incident. We're surrounded by idiots. Hold on a second. Where is it? Goodfellas, Jersey. Sorry, happy birthday. You need to shut the fuck up, Clooney.
Oh, so you met George Clooney.
No, we got drunk together.
You
And
and George?
yeah. It was at LA for the private parts premiere, and we were all at the Sky Room, and it was like John Stamos, Lori Loughlin, fucking what's
Yeah.
his name? What's her name? Like every big celebrity it was like really cool. But somehow or another, by the end of the night, two drunken Irishmen sitting at the bar, it's me and fucking Clooney, and we're fucking hammered, and he actually like kind of let his guard down for a second and started like bitching to me. And he goes, "Yeah, you don't understand. If I'm not in a bat suit, I'm in fucking doctor scrubs all day." And I went, "Oh, you need to shut the fuck up, Clooney. Who you fucking think you're talking to, motherfucker? I work just as much as you, and I make a tiny fraction of what you make. You're gonna bitch to
Yeah.
me? Fuck you." And he put down his drink. He was sitting like this. He put down his drink and he goes, "I like you." And
Well, you
we
told it
sat.
to him straight because those people are
Yeah,
surrounded by nothing but yes men,
yeah.
and they
And then
need some real love.
we walked out, and all of a sudden the valet pulls up in his with his car, and I'm like, "Yo, motherfucker, you ain't getting in that car and driving right now. Seriously?"
Mm,
He's like, he's like, "Well, what?" I go,
yeah.
"Yo, you got enough money. Why don't you take a cab, have an assistant come down and pick up your car? You're fucking
Yeah.
drunk." And
Yeah.
he's like, and he got in the car. I go, "Oh, great. So you're gonna drive off a cliff." And you're gonna die, and I'm the last person to see you. And you're gonna say everybody's gonna blame me because you got in the car. I let you get in the car, and he smirked and he drove off.
Well, obviously he was okay, but oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
yeah. Like it was like I was like, what? And then I got high with Brad Pitt. That was fun. The first blunt I ever smoked with ever was with Tupac.
That's a cool story, right? Because
No, yeah,
you saw him when he was alive. I mean, oh my
yeah. No,
God.
he came into the nightclub like every week. Like he was shooting a movie with Mickey Rourke. And I
Yeah.
just happened to work at Club Expo on 43rd Street between 6th and Broadway. It's not there anymore, but I was like stuck in the VIP room, and I my first lesson in life is never judge a book by its cover because I couldn't stand Tupac. Anybody who got Thug Life tattooed on their stomach, you're
Yeah.
advertising that you're a fucking gang, you're a fucking criminal. I just
Yeah.
didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And he came in every week, every week, and I had to take care of him. And he was the nicest, most polite, genuine, like awesomely sweet person you could ever possibly think of. He said that he signed everybody's autograph. He took their pictures with
Aw.
everybody, but he also smoked chronic, which I never ever smoked before in my entire life. I
Is
got
that
this
crack?
brown, no chronic weed.
Oh, weed, weed.
He,
Okay,
he
okay.
smoked he smoked the best weed I ever smoked in my entire life, and he was smoking it out of these cigar leaves, which is a blunt I never. I smoked. Here's
Yeah.
it. I packed my weed and shit like this my whole life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wrapped in like easy one, and then you had to break it up and take the seeds and the twigs out, and then it burnt your throat. You got high, but it
Yeah.
was a process. This motherfucker that they were already like whoever was that they were giving it to him, but I was like, so finally after like a couple of weeks of him coming in every weekend, he kind of knew who I like. I was like, I was waiting for him to do something stupid, and he didn't. He just kept being nice every time. And I finally,
Oh,
I go, yo, man, what is that you're smoking? He's like, yo, nigga, you don't know. I said, that's the chronic, yo. I was like, chronic? What's that? He goes, look at this. I went, oh my God. He goes, I didn't know you smoked, nigga. Here you go. And he handed me the blunt, and I smoked it. And every time the blunt went around, he made sure I got the blunt. And it was fucking the
oh,
best weed I ever smoked. So this is a true story. So this was the weekend before Thanksgiving, maybe 19 whatever year, you could look it up. Um, it was the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I go. It was that Saturday night. I go, yo, Pac. I don't know if you know this, but I work on the Howard Stern show. He goes, get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. Yo, Howard Stern's my nigga, yo. He was like, I listen every day. I was like, I'm Steve Grillo. He goes, man, you didn't tell me this shit the whole fucking time. What's up? I can't believe that. They gave me a big hug. And I was like, yo, you want to be a guest on the show? He goes, oh yeah, I want to be a guest on the show. And I never
oh,
forget because it was so Pac. He goes, yo, I'll give you my number right now. Yo, give me a pen. And I got his
oh.
number. And he was supposed to be the mystery guest the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I don't know what year it was. He was supposed to be the mystery guest. And I was so excited because I'm like, I'm going to bring Pac to the Howard Stern show. It's going to be legendary.
Yeah.
And his manager booked him on an early flight that Wednesday, and he couldn't show up. And he called up. No, his manager called up. I'll never forget because it was so disappointing. Gary, I could hear Gary had the manager on the
Yeah.
speakerphone, and you could hear Tupac yelling at him in the background. Apologize to that nigga, motherfucker. Apologize. He was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't tell Pac that I booked, but he wants to reschedule on Monday.
Yeah.
And that Saturday is the first time he got shot with coming out of the studio.
Who killed him? Do we know yet?
No, that wasn't when he died. He died in
Oh.
Vegas. This was the first time they tried to kill him.
Who do you think killed him?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, I would say it was probably Suge
Who?
Knight.
You don't think it was P. Diddy?
I think they all rolled in filth.
And why do you
A
think
bunch
that
of
they killed him?
because he knew too much.
About
And
what?
I think he was actually really gay, and it would have ruined the whole gangster rap thing altogether.
So what do you think
So
he knew too much
I,
about?
the inner goings on of the criminal organization that was called hip hop,
Gotcha.
and
Okay. So
he really wasn't a game player. He was like fuck you, and he got so popular that once you get that popular and you're not running you're not running the game anymore.
yeah.
That's what happens. You die.
So do you think that the majority of the musicians died that way? Like what about Whitney Houston?
I would love to know. What a shame. She was just so beautiful. Um,
Hmm.
I think she just got involved with Bobby Brown. Got hooked on the rock. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
know it's
she just
crazy. Well, it's crazy now, like with all this P. Diddy stuff coming out and you having such a close, knit to the early days and seeing all these stars and hip hop artists that
yeah.
must have been wild for you to be like, yeah, did you ever meet P. Diddy?
I've been in the room with him. He actually came to the restaurant, Brunelli's. Um, he there was an OG who I wrote about in the book. He's got a chapter. His name was Gigi the Whale. He did 30 years. He was a mafia guy. He did 30 years for keeping his mouth shut. Which is like, he kept the code. So
Yeah.
when he came out of prison, he was a regular at the restaurant, and he was like famous, infamous, famous. Um,
Yeah.
Gigi had mad street cred. He was older. He was in his like early 70s and stuff, and he
Yeah.
just big old Italian guy sat in the corner, and if he knew you, and he became like a good friend to me, And
Yeah.
one night, all of a sudden, two SUVs pulled up at the restaurant because it was on 75th in York, and they both kind of like pulled up and like blocked the street, and all of a sudden, like four giant black dudes come in and like made like a gauntlet, and then Diddy came out and basically sat there and kissed Gigi's fucking hand, and that was the only time that I've really been around him. But I also what the funny thing is, one of the bouncers I used to work at one of the nightclubs was one of his like personal bouncers, and he quit because Diddy ordered him to go hit this guy over the head with a champagne bottle, and he
Oh,
said, and his name was His name was House, and he was a House. He was like 6'7", 400 pound bodyguard. And House said, "I'm not doing that. He didn't do anything to me." And he said, "Well, if you don't fucking go over and crack him over the head with a bottle, you're fired." And House walked out. And the
Good for
funny is,
him.
one of the big bodyguards that were standing there while P Diddy came in to say hello to Gigi, I go, "Yo, I'm friends with House," and he was like, "Yo, you're friends with House? Yo, what's up?" It's like he broke character to say, "Yo,
Yeah.
you're friends with House? What's going on?" So yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, he paid those people to go do his dirty work.
That's so, gosh, I mean, he must have just, I think Diddy just became, he was born evil, I feel like. And that's
Yeah,
why he knew
I
how to
I
scare
think
people. That was his power.
yeah,
Bef-
I think he like he definitely fucking killed Biggie. I definitely 100% like because Biggie was in his way. He knew he had an ego. He wanted to step up, and Biggie was too popular, too awesome, and he wasn't. And in order for him to step up to the next level, I guess he had to take care of business. I guess I'm thinking that's what happened, but I always
It's,
felt that.
it's just amazing how he got away with so much for so long.
Yeah.
And yeah, and just controlled this entire, I mean, it is such a, that's a whole psychology thing. We should sit down with a psychologist, have him on the show and talk about just the P. Diddy and the world
Yeah.
of these craziness. But that's good that it's kind of coming to an end. So obviously you worked for Stern for a long time. You witnessed him in his younger years. You left in 98. You flash forward to COVID. Even a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
before COVID, but Stern really started to take a turn. He became very woke. He became very antisocial. He was a straight up germaphobe, wouldn't leave his house during COVID.
Well, he was like that when I was there. You know what I'm saying? It was
Okay.
definitely before free, like like there was no like what is it, the fucking the wipes and everything like that.
Yeah.
But he just really didn't like. That's why I kind of like rose above the ranks because he didn't think I was a dirtbag. You know what I'm saying? Like he trusted
Right.
me with his food. He trusted me with his food and his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I obviously took a shower every day. I obviously like
Yeah,
showed up with
yeah.
clean clothes. So he kind of trusted me in that way, but he didn't really like shaking hands with people, although he did it,
Yeah.
but it was very reluctant. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Yeah.
was kind of like on the same level as like Letterman. Letterman was kind of like that,
He was like that too. Okay.
Yeah, the very physical contact between everybody was something that kind of disturbed him a little bit. He dealt with it, but behind the scenes, he was just like, "Oh, fuck." Like if he would have had like the hand sanitizer back then, which wasn't really available, but he would have been hand sanitizer fucking out of his mind.
Sport, yes, he would have been the face of it, right? So
Yeah,
what do you feel, what do you want the biggest takeaway to be from people that read your book?
Dad, I'm not what you think I am.
Okay.
I'm actually a sick bastard.
And what do you think
No,
people think you
no,
are?
no. I think they think I'm some idiot that used to work on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
I lived a very blessed and awesome life, and
Yeah.
I'm not the person that you think I am. And
Well,
when you
there's
read
one
this shit,
thing, yeah, and like from the years that I've known you, there's one thing is like you, even though you've gone through many struggles on your own, you have ups, you have downs, you've always been positive and you've always just had an attitude of gratitude, which I think is just amazing. Because a
well,
lot of people would have
that's
been like, "Oh, poor me, I have to do this," but you're just so thankful and happy, and that's a gift, my friend.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, Miss Malloy.
You're welcome.
I know where my bread is buttered. I know how blessed I am to have the family and people and friends that I have around me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, there was one song when I was a kid. It was like, "We ain't got a barrel of money, but maybe we're ragged and funny." That's the story of my life.
Yeah, yeah. So you grew up on going to a campsite, campground, trailer
Yeah,
park.
every summer, no, yeah, it's a campground,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trailer park, you can
And
call it, but it's a
trailer park.
campground.
Yeah, yeah.
The blessing of my life.
Well, and I think that's great. But so you still go up there today. Um, what is some lessons? Because I think in life, people are always obviously looking for lessons from like Warren Buffett and all these, big names, Mark Cuban. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, like they're looking for that. But nobody ever sits down and says, you know what, here's somebody who's not necessarily monetarily rich, but they might have great life advice. Have you gotten any wisdom from the trailer park?
Yeah. If you don't want a blowjob, you should ask for one because you just might get one.
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
It just might happen when you're 11 years old. No, they're just it's the friends and the adventures that we had up there every
Yeah,
summer. In Brooklyn, you weren't allowed to go down past the block. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
had Avenue and Seaview Avenue. You weren't allowed to go past them. You weren't allowed to
yeah,
go around the block, especially during the summer. But upstate, I get up and I'd eat breakfast and I'd disappear and I wouldn't come back until dinner. And the shit that we guys, all of us did in the woods and just hanging out was like
best memories,
extraordinary.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's still all those people up there are still my best friends. They're
I
all
love
like
that.
parents and like grandparents now, and we lost some, and some are still around. But like, it's the best place for me in the world. It's like heroin and crack all together. Like if I don't have that place, I'm just not a happy person. And just
Yeah.
like every time I walk up and down the road is a memory for every pebble that's on the floor.
I love that. That's so well said. I know I feel bad for the kids in these younger generations because they didn't have the experience of like life before cell phones.
Yeah,
I mean, I was really, really young and all my bills were paid because I was in school. But life before cell phone was probably the best time ever. You know,
yeah,
it's one of
yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
things where people say, but we didn't have access to as much information. I kind of think that that was meant to be that way and that we aren't
Yeah,
designed like people will watch the news and like get bombarded with negativity, negativity, negativity. And the reason it's all negative is because that's what sells. Fear sells, right?
yeah,
Fear,
sure.
if you fear people, you control people. So you're not going to have positive news. I think they tried to do that once and it failed miserably. So the thing too is like, why do I need to know everything? It's good to be aware of what's going on in the world, but sometimes like I don't really watch the news anymore unless it's like business news. And my life is actually a lot happier. And I notice when people like seem to be kind of angry or short fused or just like a visible fucking chip on their shoulder, I'm like, how often do you watch the news? Oh, every day, multiple times a day, hours a day. And I'm like, yeah, stop.
Yeah,
You need to stop.
yeah, it'll drive you fucking nuts. And
It's
it
good
does to
not
me
to
like
know certain things. It's
it
good
seems
to
like
live in a bubble.
X seems to be down that road. I've been I know I have to be on social media now, especially
You
now
have
than more than
to.
ever.
Yeah.
And but I go on X, and promote shit and stuff, and then I'm like, God damn, man, it's just harsh and political, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it takes away from my soul. Like I like to be on top of the game. I'm not smart enough to be political, although I did go to the inauguration.
Oh,
uh,
nice. How was
yeah,
that?
it was really cool. I got this.
How did you,
Uh,
who invited you?
well, a good friend of mine is one of Trump's lawyers.
Okay, who's that?
His name is Peter Tickton.
Oh, wow.
He went to high school with Trump. He was his 4 years together in military school. He was his sergeant, and
Oh,
Trump
that's
was the
cool.
he was the platoon leader. So they're
Okay.
still really good friends. I know mentioning that man's name really sparks a lot of anger in people, but I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be political, but I think the guy's doing a fucking great job. But anyway,
Yeah.
they went to school, and we were supposed to be outside in the audience, but obviously
Yeah.
they got canceled because it was cold that day. But
Yeah.
Peter was honored by the Gateway Pundits. It's a
Okay.
political the Gateway Pundit. It's a political organization that Peter has helped out, I guess legally for a couple of years, and the whole
That's
party was like Peter's party. It was like really weird. It was
that's
like
so
he didn't.
cool.
He was so modest. He didn't even realize that it was like I think I'm being honored or something. And then I'm like, I go over
Oh,
there and I see all these like VIP tables. And I'm like, Peter Tickton, Peter Tickton. I was like, Peter, these tables are all yours. He goes, I was like, I'll be right back. And I went and found somebody that was organizing the party, and they were like,
yeah.
Peter's here. Where? They didn't even know. So at the
Oh,
end of the party, did a big speech about him, and then he came up and he did this fiery fucking great speech about Trump. It was very heartwarming, and then
that's
afterwards he was like
great.
signing autographs and stuff. So yeah, I got to go to all these parties and shit,
Oh,
and
that's
then
such a cool
we went to the
experience.
we went to the Kennedy Center and went to all the parties, and there was like a bunch of people there. Danny Baldwin was there and shit. And
Yeah, it
I haven't
doesn't
seen
matter
Dan,
like
but yeah,
yeah, and it doesn't matter like politically, whatever. Like I try to stay kind of in the middle of the road, but people that know me obviously know where I lie. It's pretty obvious
yeah,
there.
yes,
But it's to have the opportunity to go to an inauguration is a once in a lifetime
yeah,
experience. You don't turn
yeah.
those things down. And I think that is so, so amazing. So before we wrap up, and then before I have you plug your socials in your book, we have a very good friend, and I've heard you have conversations with people. If you don't want to go there, just say fuck off, Madison. But you apparently, your claim to fame is that every girl you fuck ends up turning around and working or dating a billionaire. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Not every girl, but yeah, no. Yeah, obviously it's not something that I can go down the road and drop names or anything, but there's someone that I care very dearly about that just happens to know someone that's very rich. How about that?
Okay, okay, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he likes to call his dick the luck of the Irish, or the luck
I
of the coin. Yeah, that's
well, I mean,
hilarious. Steve and I are just
I
friends.
would.
Don't get the wrong idea, people. You're like, did you date
No,
him?
no. Are you talking about my dick or his? Because I don't think he's Irish. But anyway,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we know who we're
yeah,
talking about. I'm not a big fan of his,
yeah.
by the
No,
way,
no, no, no. Well,
for those
shh.
reasons. I'm not saying anything.
No, I know.
Not a fan. He is a liberal. That's the only clue
Yeah,
I'm
well,
giving.
he shit the bed on that. But anyway, next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, this was amazing. You have reached bestseller status
Have I? I haven't
on
looked.
Amazon. Yeah, I saw it all over. Like
Is it really? I can't
yeah,
even look. I haven't gone down that road. I'm
yeah.
such a fucking mess right now that I can't stress on. I got enough stress. If I start stressing on looking on Amazon, is it doing that well?
I saw a bestseller thing next to it. So
Oh,
yeah,
really? What?
yeah. You need to be proud
Well,
of yourself. But
congratulations. You're
here's
the
the
first
thing.
person to tell me that.
Here's the thing I want to tell you. This is very important at this point now. Like you believe in manifestation and law of attraction and all the universal
Yes, of
laws,
course.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Don't this is the moment now to capitalize on opportunity, right? It's a moment to get in front of people. Don't develop imposter syndrome and self-sabotage yourself because you're going, whoever thought I'd be an author? I can't believe these people are paying attention to me. I want to encourage you to step into the identity of a best-selling author, a kick-ass top producer, somebody, you probably have a zillion ideas for reality shows. Now is the time to strike. But I need you to live in the mindset of it already being done. And this whole thing of, I don't have, I'm not rich or I'm not, stop that right now. We're going to work with you because now we're going to capitalize on all this stuff because you deserve it. You have worked your ass off. You are good to people. So I really want you, anytime to catch yourself where you say, I can't believe anyone's reading my book. I can't believe it. Stop. This is your time. Say,
Why do I want
hey,
to make out with you so much right now?
everybody does. Join the
Yeah,
list. Just
yeah.
kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I'm saying this is the time. This is the time to strike.
I
And,
appreciate that. I do that
come
as
up with
sort of
some
like a
reality type shows too. I think it'd be great.
yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of reality TV. I'm more a fan of like scripted and stuff like that. But
I don't give a
anyway,
shit. I think you're a fan of money, so take advantage of it.
okay, I'll take that. But
Because
I
money
I
can be
do
used for great things,
I
amazing,
do that
positive things.
I do that as a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I do that kind of to be funny because like that's how, when you asked me that question before, you said, "What do you think people?" Because I think people are immediately going to think I'm a goof, so I beat them to the punch. But obviously, after you talk to me, you know I'm not, and obviously you have to read my book. I'm not. So I do that as sort of like almost like a knee jerk reaction to. I already know what you're expecting, so I'm going to give you what you expect, and then you're going to find out who the fuck I am, and I'm going to change your mind.
You're like the opposite. You're like you look like rough, tough, fun and sometimes trailer park.
I'll fuck a
But you're
motherfucker
not.
up.
But here, right. But the thing is, I look like waspy Greenwich, like I have a multimillionaire husband, but like inside, it's like, oh, so people expect this like waspy, everything's taken care of, rich husband, beautiful home in the burbs. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no, I just love Coors Light and country music and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like so I feel like I'm like inside I'm you, but outside you're me, or inside you're me.
Oh,
It's like a
uh,
weird, it's so
wait, could
funny,
I
but
be
you're
in?
authentic.
Could we meet in the middle and I could be inside you?
Yeah, no pun intended.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no, that was
Hello.
fucking
Boom,
funny.
boom.
That
I
was
need a fart
fucking
sound.
funny.
That
That
was
was
funny.
fucking funny.
That
Yeah,
was a
that was
good
fucking funny.
joke.
I was like, you set me up for that, and I'm like, she's not giving me this fucking haymaker right now. I was like, what? You didn't even realize, you didn't see that coming.
I
So,
gave you a
so if
layup
I can,
slam.
yeah, if I could be inside you, we'd be great.
Yeah, 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 exactly. You're like, I got this, I got this. But that's
It was,
so fun.
this one time that me and Ron always do those videos with Alan at all the different restaurants and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
Flavors in New
So
York.
like
Yeah.
possibly one of the greatest comedic moments in movie history is Coming to America. Okay, when Eddie Murphy's playing the old Jewish guy, right?
Uh-huh.
So you know this. I'm gonna fill it in at the end. We should end on this because I have to make an Irish soda bread because I'm about to go to Gino Bisconti's show. But
Perfect.
so he brings me to this Mexican restaurant. It was just me by myself, and I don't know if you know, but like Mexican soup is some of the best soup you could ever have. Like if you get a good Mexican soup, it's like got everything. It's delicious.
Okay.
So I'm at the Mexican restaurant, and I go to the owner. Do you have good Mexican soup? He goes, we have the best Mexican soup, and all of them had. I was like, oh, I can't wait. So the guy brings me the fucking soup with no spoon. Now I don't know if you know the line from "It's Coming to America" is the old Jewish guy said, "Waiter, try the soup. Waiter, you got to try the soup. Waiter, come on." The waiter goes, "All right, I'll try the soup. Oh, there's no spoon." Aha! Like it was like that. Eddie Murphy's like one of his favorite. That's my favorite lines, and everybody's favorite line. Aha! And there was no soup. There was no spoon with the soup, and I'm like, I get to fucking reenact the greatest like comedy line ever in a movie. And I was like literally getting the phlegm ready in my throat. And I go, try this soup. He goes, oh, there's no. He goes, I'm not going to try that. I go, please. And he just about to say, and he looks around and the guy goes, cut. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I was like, you just blew the greatest moment in cinema history. I just got to
Wait, so what
actually
happened? What was so
organically.
funny about it? I gotta call you out on it. What was so he spit in the
It's
soup?
no. Eddie Murphy was playing the old Jewish guy and
Yeah.
he was telling the story about how the waiter tried the soup because there was no spoon. So he wanted the waiter to try the soup for him to realize there's no spoon. And
Oh,
when the
yeah,
waiter
yeah,
said,
yeah. Okay, that went over my
try the
head.
soup, he goes, oh, there's no spoon. There's no spoon in there. And Eddie Murphy's old Jewish character goes, aha, like I got you. And
I
it was just like
got
such
you.
a simple like thing,
Exactly.
but the fact that I had that opportunity and he caught, I was like, fucking cocksucker. Like, well, anyway, on that note, I just said that was a little bit around the way, but
I love
a
that. I
lot of
love
people,
that.
that like love that movie understand what I just said.
Okay, perfect. All right. I need you to tell us where people can find you and most importantly, where they can buy the book.
Well, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Apparently, according to you, it's a bestseller right now. I
I
have no
swear I
idea.
saw
Both,
that.
I,
Yeah.
that's great news to me. I'm not. I love the fact that you could be able person to tell me that. I'm on Grillo Vader on TikTok and
Grillo
Instagram,
what?
like Darth Vader. I'm a big
Grillo
Star Wars
Vader.
fan.
Okay, so yeah, go
Yeah,
go check him out.
Grillo
You
Vader
need
and
to you need to be doing more TikToks too. I mean, I saw a
no,
TikTok
no.
of you.
We just hired a company that's going to be helping us out with that.
Excellent, because I remember watching a TikTok and it was just like you eating pasta, and I'm like, why can I not look away from this? Like there was
Yeah,
something
yeah.
entertaining about it, really get
Really?
it, dive into that redneck, like
Here we go
dive
with the
into that
softballs.
trailer park.
Here we go. So we'll get the camera, and you can watch me eat a lot of things.
Oh my God. All right. On that
Yeah.
note, you guys go grab your copy of Gorilla Parts by Steve Grillo on
Thank you so much,
Amazon.
Madison.
The Audible will be available, I guess, this weekend. And
No, it's
go get
available
it.
right now.
Great. Okay, everything's available. Go buy the damn book and follow him. It is great. Stephen, thank you so much for coming to join us. And
Thank you, cutie
congratulations
pants.
on the
I love
new
you.
author title. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
See
so
ya.
much. And thank you for everyone who is joining and listening from wherever you are.
One
Love
day
you
I get.
and couldn't do it without you. We'll see you next time. Hold it, Grillo. You are off.
Yeah.
We will see you next time on Next to Madison to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.